We begin our projects with a full cotton yarn. Today we're using Peaches and Cream. It's in a blue. We use a size I crochet hook, which is 5.5. So we're going to take our yarn and we're going to make a loop because we're going to make a slip knot. So you make a loop and pull part of the loop through onto your crochet hook. And see, there is a slip knot. So in crocheting, it's important to wrap your hands so there's tension and there's flow of the yarn. So I wrap it around my little finger and I put it over my other fingers and I hold it between my thumb and my index finger. My right hand, my index finger is also touching the crochet hook so the yarn has control over it. So we're going to start out by chaining. For our dishcloth, we're going to chain approximately 27, 29, 30 chains, and that way our dishcloth will be about 28 chains wide, 27. It depends on what you want or what you end up doing. It's really important to count each row because if you don't count each row, they get bigger, they get smaller. You know, it just gets kind of wacky there. So here you see me crocheting my chain. I catch it in my crochet hook and I pull it through the loop. So it's really easy. You wrap around and see how I hold my fingers, and I think I'm kind of stuck here, and I pull through my loop. So I am doing a voiceover here. So I did this earlier on and now this is my voiceover. So now I'm going back, I'm at the end of my row and I'm going to pull through again. Pull through all three. Oh, I'm doing a double crochet here. So I'm at the end of the row. When I come back, I skip the first two chains and I go into the third chain for a double crochet, and then I wrap around and I pull through the hole and pull through one, wrap around, go and then pull through two. So you see me pulling through two, wrapping, and pulling through two. So I'm wrapping, I'm going through the next hole, I pull it up, wrap, pull through two, wrap, pull through two more, wrap, go through the hole, pull through one, pull through two, pull through two. I gotta wrap each time and I pull through two. So that's a double crochet. When you're looking to go into the hole, you notice in your chain there could be a V, and ideally that's the way to go, is to go under the V. So there's two strands of yarn on top. For the purpose of our dishcloth, we're going through one strand of yarn on top. That makes it easier to go through, and plus when we add our border, we just go around the outside of it and you have something to hook into. So you see there's one on top when I go through the basic chain. And I wrap around, pull it through the hole, pull it up, wrap around, pull through two, wrap around, and pull two through two again. So you continue doing this all the way across the row. So we continue our double crochet across the first row, trying to keep the tension even and continuing the technique. Remember, it's going, and now we're at the end of the row here, and we're going to look to see what we have done. So we're just going to pull it up so it doesn't unravel. I'm going to lay it out and we're going to count. So for the sake of this, we've counted approximately 27. You just need to keep each row even. So here I'm counting, one at a time, two at a time, with whatever is easiest for you. And sometimes I will double count the very end one where you chain two. For the sake of this dishcloth, that is not counted as part of the row. So you're going to have 27 crochets in my dishcloth here, plus the chain 3 at the end. So now we're going to start the next end. So we're going to thread our crochet hook through again and pull it tight, crochet two chains, 1, 2. Going to wrap the yarn around and determine where to put it in. So you're going to skip those 2 chains and put it into the next hole. That will be the last stitch you have. Gonna go through, pull up a yarn. There'll be 3 on your hook, wrap around, pull through 2, wrap around, pull through 2. We're going back across, and then going back across, you're going to put your crochet hook under the V. So under both loops. We're going to do the same for each stitch all the way back across our project. And you see, it's not that hard. It's very routine. It's very repetitive. Once you get going, you'll be really good at this. It's important not to split the yarn, so be careful. This yarn, the cotton yarn, can split very easily, and then it becomes kind of a mess. So you got to pull it out, and pulling it out, you just pull on the end, and it will pull out. And you don't want to pull it out unless you have to. So you see, I'm going across, doing the same technique over and over and over again. My hands are creating the tension. My left hand is wrapped around my little finger. My second finger is holding it up, and that will go up and down to make it looser or tighter. My index finger and my thumb are holding the project on my right hand. My thumb and my index finger are holding the crochet hook, and then my second finger will come down and hold that yarn so it doesn't move. Sometimes the yarn will move around, it will slip around, and that makes it harder. That makes it loose or tight. So you try to make it look even. And this takes practice. When you're brand new at crocheting, it might be hard. It might be hard to figure out how to hold your crochet hook. Hard to hold the yarn. You learn how to do this. You learn by the feel. And you do, like I said before, you have to be very careful you don't split your yarn. So I'm going to continue to crochet across the length, or I guess this is the width of my dishcloth. Now, the double crochet makes a loose dishcloth. It does not use up as much yarn as a single crochet. If you go and look at the different stitches in crochet, the single crochet uses up the most yarn and is the tightest. But there's a variety of stitches that you can learn in crochet, and a double crochet is one of the easiest stitches to learn, and it's very useful because it can make a lot of different projects. And dishcloths are great because it does give it a kind of a lacy effect. So here I'm at the end of the row, and I'm going to count. Skipping the very first one because that is my chain 3. That is not counted in this project. When you read direction books, sometimes the chain 3 is counted, sometimes it is not counted. So on to row 3. So I'm going to crochet, or excuse me, I'm going to chain 2 and then come back, skip those 2 chains and go into the first stitch, which is under that V. This might be some of the hardest thing to learn, is where do you put it in for the first stitch? Where do you not put it in for the first stitch? Here I'm at the end of the row again, and I'm going to count row 3. Same as before, you skip the chain 2 and you count every stitch. It should be the same number as the row before, and if it's not, you need to adjust and figure out which stitch to put it in the last stitch too. There are tutorials out there that shows you how to keep your sides even, and that, as a new crocheter, that can be kind of challenging. On to row 4, we're going to chain 2 and then find that first open stitch. You skip your chain 2 and go into the next one under the V, and you do your double crochet across the next row. Just keep going back and forth. I did get another webcam that had an automatic focus, so it's kind of exciting. I have quite the rigging in my office here with lights and a little holder to automatically focus the videos. So this is my first try with this new camera. I had the camera probably at least a month or so, but Christmas got in there, and then the virus got going at work, so it's taken me a while to get this video. I am going to be teaching a class in February via Zoom, and they will be given this video to take home and practice with. The class is going to be live, so we shall see how that works, because I'll have this webcam, focused on my work while I talk to the people in the class. So that'll be a new thing too. We'll see if anybody signs up for the class, but hopefully it'll be early February. Maybe I'll use this as a little advertising for the class. I did not do everything on camera because it would have taken, well, over an hour to do the whole dishcloth on camera. But I did the first few rows so you could get a good look of how to get started with a dishcloth. There we are again. Gotta count, 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 count. I was on vacation once and I thought, oh, I didn't need to count. I've been crocheting for years and years and years. Who needs to count? Yeah, when it starts getting skinnier and wider, you really learn you need to count. Okay, here we have our dishcloth. I've done several more rows and I'm trying to determine, do I need to do more rows or am I done? So the easiest way to do that is just to fold it across like this so it's diagonal, and if it doesn't quite come to the ends, you know you need to do more rows. And it looks like I need to do 1 to 2 more rows here, so here I go again. You might wonder about my thumb, why it has those discolored parts of it. Well, a few years ago I started getting this red part to my thumb, and I went to the dermatologist and they determined it was blood vessels in there, and there wasn't much that you could do with it. Just leave it and it'll be fine, and it is fine. It just looks kind of weird. And the little black part on my thumbnail, I think I must have banged myself, so that's it, and it was bleeding at one time, so that's just a little scabby part, and that did come off since I did the tutorial. Sometimes I flip my crochet hook around if I can't get through a loop. Okay, I'm going to check the size again. And folding it up. And folding it over. And I determine I need, I think, another row here. So chain 2, got it right this time. Loop it over, go through the next hole, loop it over, pull through 2, pull through 2. I'll do a tutorial on just the basic double crochet too. So if you have trouble with how fast this goes, I'll slow it down immensely to teach some of the basic stitches. Here I'm counting again to make sure it's still the same width. Like I said before, it has changed on my path, so if you think you got it and hey, you skipped something, testing the size, hey, it looks like it's going to fit. It's going to be a square. I suppose you could measure it with a ruler, but why use the ruler where you can just do the folding technique? It works just as well. So now I'm going to do the border. So we're going to do a single crochet around. So we're going to chain one and we're going to find the next hole around the side. On the corners we're going to be putting in 3 single crochet. So a single crochet is essentially half of a double crochet. So instead of wrapping it around the hook to begin with, you don't wrap it around. You just poke your hook through the hole, grab the yarn on the other side, pull it through. There should be 2 strands of yarn on your hook, wrap and pull through 2. Then poke your hook through the hole, grab a strand, pull it through the hole. There should be 2 on your hook, wrap and pull through 2. Now in doing the border, you have to determine where the holes are on the side of your project. So if it's double crochet, you should have like 2 stitches in each hole or in each area, so it doesn't get too many. It looks like you could probably put more in. Don't put more in. Put like 2 in each stitch. So there's a big hole and a little hole. So put 1 in the big hole, 1 in the smaller hole. There's a big hole, so I did a stitch there. And see, there's a smaller hole. I did a stitch there. And you look at that, it creates a nice side border. So you'll go down one side, then we're going to go across the bottom. See, there's the big hole. So I put a stitch in the big hole. And there's the smaller hole. Put a stitch in the smaller hole. Big hole, smaller hole. Big hole, smaller hole. This is going to make a nice even border. So we're almost at the end. So when we do get the end, we're going to put 3 single crochets into the corner. This will get us around the corner so it doesn't roll up as much. You can put 2, you can put 3, 4, 5. You know, the more you put in, the more ruffly it will get. It's up to you. You know, you could do your project kind of in various ways. So we're going to go across the bottom now, and this is the initial chain that we did. And remember when we initially did it, we went only through one part of the V. So this leaves another part to go through. Now, I kind of got off camera here. I apologize for that. There, I pull it back up. So you can see I'm just pulling it through so there's one loop on top. I actually turned my crochet hook upside down to kind of hook it in there because it's harder to get it through. It's harder to poke that end through. So I turn it upside down and I hook it the other way so I can get the crochet hook through. So I'm going to go across the bottom. Just pull up each loop. Sometimes it's hard to determine how many there are there, but I will pull up one and then we'll find the next one. So don't skip any, just pull up each one. I'm at the corner again. This is where you do 3. And then I'm going to go back up the other side. Same as before, you do a single crochet in one of the big holes, and then a single crochet in one of the little holes right up the side. At the end again, I'm going to go around the side, 3 single crochets in the corner, and I'm going across the top part now. And this is kind of like what we were doing with the double crochet, but instead of the double, you just do a single crochet in each stitch. So you poke it through the stitch, you grab yarn, pull it up, 2 on the hook, grab yarn and pull it through the 2. Okay, we're almost to the end. Our dishcloth is almost done. Yay! Hey, good job everybody. I hope you enjoyed your first dishcloth. Going to look at it again, and oh, I got my handy dandy scissors out here and I cut my thread off. So now we're going to kind of tie it in, crochet our ends in. So I just pull it up through you see here, I'm going to pull it through that loop and tighten it down, and then I'm just going to kind of do that in several places down the side of it here to make sure it doesn't come out. Sometimes you can use a darning needle or a blunt end needle to do this and just kind of weave it through your project. I tend to just use my crochet hook for projects like dishcloths. When I'm making other things, I have started using the needle because you can get a better ending in there, but you can just kind of pull it throughout your project, and then you're going to trim it again. I'm going to just keep pulling it through so it's not going to come undone, and then you have a nice little dishcloth. Clip it again. And just kind of, and then of course you got the other end that you're going to have to, try to secure so it doesn't come out or come unraveled. I try to do at least 2 to 3 slip knots to tie it off, because you don't want to sell your dishcloth to somebody and it comes unraveled. They wouldn't be very happy. Or if you used it yourself, you wouldn't be very happy. So secure the ends. This does take practice. My mom has made many of things and she's still frustrated. Sometimes you end up just securing lots of ends when you're changing colors a lot. So I'm going to clip off. This is my beginning of it, and I'm going to stretch it out. In other projects you block it, but a dishcloth you don't really have to block. Fold it up, and there we have it, a pretty little dishcloth. Thank you so much for watching. This is Shirley at Shirley's Art Ventures.